This is why you don't ever root for a man that you're not married to. You don't ever publicly speak about a man that is not claiming you, because they will embarrass you. And I'm embarrassed that I was horny over a white man who is a racist. God damn it. Hello, darlings. Welcome to AM to PM. This is your weekly reality check where we deep dive into the successes and the struggles, the pretty and the ugly, the naughty and the nice of everyday life. It is your girl AMD, Anna Marie, keeping it sweet for you every Thursday. And we're going to jump straight in with what's the tea? What's the tea? Right. What's the tea in my life? What's the tea in everyday life? First, I want to preface this episode by sending my love and my prayers to the people of Palestine. And on my socials, I haven't been very active about this because, I don't know, I like to keep my social media quite light and airy-fairy because I know that people come to me for good vibes. But I do think it's very, very important to shed light and spread awareness, because I honestly don't know what more I can do as a person living on the other side of the world other than talk about it and spread awareness and donate where I can, show up where I can. And I just think it's a horrible situation that the people of Palestine have been dealing with for over 7 decades. And this has to end. Honestly, truly, it's a shame to see our UK government supporting the aggressor in this, but you know, what can I do? I just hope that us as individuals, we can spark a change somewhere down the line, and God willing, people of Palestine will seek freedom in this lifetime. So just wanted to start the episode with that. And if there are any foundations or any means of donation, any way that I can support, do let me know, and I will put some in the show notes too, the ones that I know of. Yes, let's move on. Okay, what's tea? So something that's happened today as I'm recording this. So yesterday, Kim Kardashian, the founder of Skims shapewear, announced a new menswear range, which is fantastic. She's a marketing genius, and she gave us one of every flavor. She gave us 3 very attractive men, sports players, athletes, to advertise this new range. And I thought she did well. She gave us a white man, a black man, and a Latin man. And yeah, very great choice. One of every flavor, one for everybody. And I took a particular liking to the man called Nick Bosa. Never heard of this man, never seen him in my life. He's an American football player. And I made a TikTok about this man, about how I was lost. Let me tell you, I was lusting over this man. I was dripping and drooling over this man. When I saw this campaign, I stopped in my tracks, as is many other women that I could see in the comments. Who is he? This fine ass beautiful man. I was willing to switch teams. Come to find out, the next day after I posted my content, people are commenting under my video saying, ew, he's a racist. I said, what? This man is a racist. Apparently many years ago, he had tweeted some questionable things, and he's also a very big Trump supporter, a Make America Great supporter, which is not my vibe. Does not align with my values. He has a wife also, or girlfriend, I'm not sure. But we don't align value-wise. So I had to just SKR, skr, from that situation. And I'm embarrassed. This is why you don't ever root for a man that you're not married to. You don't ever publicly speak about a man that is not claiming you, because they will embarrass you. And I'm embarrassed that I was horny over a white man who is a racist. God damn it. So that's my start of the week for you. But the talk of the town this week and last week has been the 48 Oyster Lady and the Miss I Don't Go to Cheesecake Factory lady. City girls, we are down. Minus 50 points. I know we are trying to scam these men and get men to like take us to places and do nice things for us, but this is not the way that we go about it. Okay? If you've been living under a rock, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll see if I can insert the clips here. But the So we'll start with 48 oyster lady. Is a lady who was bored one day and she went on a date with a man who was chasing after her to some place where you can get some good ass oysters. This lady ate 48 oysters, and she was filming this for TikTok. Okay, she gave us the whole ins and outs, telling her that she just decided to go on a date with this guy. He was like, let's go for drinks. She knew a place. She wanted to get the oysters, and she went through trays of oysters, slurping them one by one. This man just had drinks. Eventually he left and left her to foot the bill because he just felt like she was rude. And in my opinion, it looked like she was being rude. It looked like she was just focusing on the content, slurping down her oysters, not even giving a damn about the man. And she had to pay for those oysters. Why? We can do better than that. I know you want a free meal, but let's have some decorum. If you're going to go about trying to have a free meal, you kind of got to woo the man, make the man feel a little bit special. This whole time you're just there slurping on your 48 oysters. First and foremost, why are you eating so many oysters? Are oysters that good? I think I've tried oysters once in my life. They're not that great enough for me to want to consume 4 trays of oysters on a random day during the week. And it was in the middle of the day. It wasn't even like a dinner date. This was in like afternoon. Because they got a deal on in that place. Wouldn't you get a bellyache? How can you stomach that much seafood in one go? And she was enjoying them shits. She was slurping them on down. And that caused a whole debacle on the internet. Now we move on to the Cheesecake Factory lady. A guy took this lady to the Cheesecake Factory. Well, his side of the story was pretty valid. Like, he came to meet her. She made him wait an hour late downstairs. She didn't invite him up to her place. I mean that's valid because it's the first time you're meeting someone. He had dinner reservations booked for somewhere fancy. She was an hour late, so they missed her reservation. So he took her to the Cheesecake Factory. And if you've been to Cheesecake Factory, I've been one time in Los Angeles. It's nice. It's nice. It's like going to a Vapiano's, but maybe just a little bit more upscale than a Vapiano's, but it's kind of the same vibe where it's not luxury dining, but it's a nice experience. It's not fast food. It's actually quality food. So they went to Cheesecake Factory and she refused to get out the car. She was like, I'm not going to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't go to these kind of chain restaurants. And this is the problem with getting your advice from people on TikTok and on the internet. Stop taking relationship advice from people who are not qualified. If you want to be a sugar baby, or if you want to get spoiled, then this is not the way to go about it. This is why I'm saying, see it, girls, we are down minus 50 points. Because girls are ruining the game for us. Fair enough. You don't want to go to Cheesecake Factory. There is a way to go about it, but you were also in the wrong in that situation, okay? She was adamant and she recorded him. The whole situation was just embarrassing, okay? And we have to do better as a society. You want princess treatment, you need to be a princess. Oh, you can also demand what you want, but there is a certain decorum, there's a certain way and manners that you have to be treated in a certain kind of way. And you were an hour late for your dinner reservation. So girl, we have to do better across the board. Stop trying to scam these men or force these men to take you to places that you wouldn't go to on a regular day. If you can't afford it, please just stay at home. Have some self-respect, and stop expecting men to pay for everything. Of course, like they should. If they're the ones taking you on a date, they absolutely should. But be kind, goddamn, because that's someone taking their hard-earned cash to spend on you. And if they can afford Cheesecake Factory or Vapiano's or Nando's, whatever, then you know what? That kind of be grateful with that. If you don't want to go there, you can absolutely refuse and go home. But I think when you're on a first date with someone, I personally wouldn't want to go to somewhere upscale on a first date with someone. Because if I hated that person, if this person turned out to be an asshole, I would not want to be in my nice clothes in a nice place sitting with this man. I would rather be somewhere casual where if I need to dip, I can just slide the waiter a little 20. I go about my day. you know? I think nicer restaurants and nicer princess treatment is something that's reserved for when you know the person a little bit better, when you spent time with that person, rather than just something to expect on the first date, especially if you don't know what kind of tax bracket he's in. Like, let's be real. Anyway, let's move on. Lastly, I wanted to talk about Blue Therapy, which is now on E4. Blue Therapy started off as a YouTube series by was it Trend Central? The people from Trend Central, that they're the ones that started Backchat years ago, and they had a series where just couples will come on and talk about their relationship problems. And it's great to see that, you know, black owned companies progress to Channel 4. So big up them, big up the people them for getting the bag and bringing a series to the nation. This series is unhinged. And this is what spurred today's topic. A lot of the situations, the relationships in this this series, it is the reason why we're talking about what we're talking about today, because it is disgraceful. City Girls were down minus 100 points from watching Blue Therapy. You've got one lady, Marie, who's a bougie lifestyle style girl, and she's been with her guy 10 years on and off. He had 3 babies in between the time that they were broken up. She's still clinging on and she wants to be married to him. This man doesn't believe in marriage. He doesn't believe in signing no papers. Another lady, she's going out with an Asian brother. He met her father, told the guy, I love your daughter, but I'm not trying to marry her. And this lady's talking about engagement ring, when am I going to get the ring? He said to you, I don't want to marry you. This is the thing about us women. We have selective hearing. We hear, I don't want to marry you, but then we add on, yet. He will say, I don't want to marry you, or I don't want a relationship, and we will hear, yet. Can we please leave that in this year, in the God's year of 2023? We are not entering the new year, 2024, hanging on and creating hopes and dreams and promises that a man never created. Fair enough if this man is saying, yeah, I'll marry you one day, that's a different thing. But reality is, if he wanted to, he would. And I know that gets thrown around a lot, but if a man wants to marry you, he will take you off the market. We need to go back to that video of the street interview with the guy. I think he was European or Middle Eastern, talking about how much money he spent on a ring. And the interviewer asked him, what does she bring to the table? And he was quick to shut that down, because he saw the value in her and he wanted a wife. He saw her as a wife and he married her immediately. Then you've got black women specifically on these bloody shows hanging around men who have blatantly told your father, the man who helped bring you into this world, he's told your daddy that he doesn't want to marry you. He doesn't want your hand in marriage. He's not going to ask you, your dad, for permission, because he doesn't give a shit and he doesn't want to marry you. So why are you still here? Why are you still hanging around asking for a ring? Let's get some self-respect, please. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed to see such tomfoolery on my TV screens, because what are you doing? Girl, get up, stand up for your rights. Don't give up the fight. Word to Bob Marley, what the hell? This man has said he doesn't want to marry you, and you're talking about, oh, I want a ring, I don't want to just be engaged. He said to you. Girl. Anyways, if you want some entertainment, I thoroughly recommend you watch Blue Therapy. I think it's called something else though. You can watch it on For Reality on YouTube. It's called Blue Therapy in Love and Toxic. Highly recommend you go watch that if you want some rage, and if you want an example of what a relationship should not look like. Highly recommend. Let's get into the episode. You don't need a man, you need therapy. Now, today's topic is, you don't need a man, you need therapy. And this goes for the man them too. Because man them, you know that you love to get in a situationship. You love to have a little fling or have a girl stick beside you, just for convenience or to pass the time. You know, you men love to do that. Men love to keep women around because they're giving you nuni, because they're giving them free nuni, they're giving them the love and the affection, but they don't really want to be that woman. They're waiting for their wife, and they're going to use you to pass the time. So I'm mostly speaking to the women, but the rules apply for the men too, if men are listening. Okay? Stop it. You don't need to be in a relationship. You don't need to be in a situation with somebody. You need to go to therapy. Listen, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I went to start going to therapy in 2021. Honestly, changed my life. Because you have an external person who's a professional who can break down your thought processes and your problems and help you understand what's going on with your life, help you understand yourself a bit more, help you to understand situations, help you build up empathy, and just help you overall to be a fully functioning, stable adult. More people need it. More people need to do it instead of seeking validation and seeking love in the opposite sex or the same sex. I don't know your life, whatever you're into. But aside from blue therapy and the 48 Oyster Lady, what really has been made me think to do an episode like this, because I've been having so many conversations with people. I know so many people, specifically women, who want love. I want to be in love. I want a man, or who desperately wants to fix a relationship with a man that's clearly like past this expiry date. And I always ask them, but why? What is the reason?
What was the reason?
What difference is that man's love going to bring to your life? Right? Let's say you get your dream man and he loves you dearly. How is that going to positively impact your life? How is that going to change your life? I'll wait. I'm asking you this, listener. I'm asking my friends this. I'm asking myself this. I'm asking you this. How is it going to positively impact your life if you got your dream person today? I'll wait. It's not. Okay, and if your answer was, oh, but then I'll be loved by him, and then he can do this for me, and then when you go back on, especially if you said it in that high pitched voice, no. Honey, leave it alone. Because if you are not a healed person or healing person, because I don't truly ever believe that being healed is a destination. I think it's more of a journey. Like, you're constantly on it. You're constantly learning and changing and vibing, and things trigger you and you've got to go back and do the work again. But if you're not a healing person, how do you expect to receive the love that person will give to you? Let's say you did get your dream person and they're so kind and attentive and they do everything for you and they make you feel like a princess. But if you are shitty, I mean, like, if you don't even love yourself, or if you don't know yourself, or if you don't value yourself, how do you expect to receive that love? You will just think that he's annoying. You will think that he's doing too much. You will feel smothered because you don't have space in your heart to receive what he is giving you. Can I get a amen? And the thing is, I think with Disney Channel, coming from being a Disney baby myself, with Disney Channel and movies and, you know, fantasy life and stories and Twilight series and all of that shit, it makes people romanticize romance so much. It makes people romanticize relationships so much. But what you don't realize, it takes a lot of work to be in a relationship, to be in a happy, fulfilling relationship that you ideally want to last forever. You gotta work. It's not just, oh, happiness and roses and great times and sweetness and I love yous. No, sometimes you really hate that person. Sometimes You dislike that person. Sometimes you argue. Sometimes you've got a compromise. Sometimes you misunderstand each other. And if you are not someone who understands your behavioral patterns, you've not gone to therapy to do the work to understand yourself or to create some kind of safety net for your human existence, you are going to constantly feel defeated. And you are constantly going to feel you might not even be able to recognize the love that is in front of you, because you've got so much gunk that needs to come out and needs to work, that you need to work on. You are not going to be able to receive love if you are emotionally unstable, if you are mentally unstable, if you don't like yourself, if you spend time running away from yourself. Like, you're going to end up running away from that person. Looking for comfort in a smelly man is not is not going to fix your problems. It's only going to create problems, and the universe will keep sending you the same kind of person until you learn your lessons, until you learn your self-worth. And oftentimes people who don't love themselves end up in toxic relationships. Either they become an abuser or a manipulator, or they end up with an abuser or a manipulator, or they just simply don't value the relationship. They end up cheating, or they end up with a cheater. So it takes a lot of work to want to be in a stable and fulfilling relationship. Now let's revert back to Blue Therapy. My girl, I wish I wrote her name down. The black girl who's dating the Asian brother, who's told her dad that he is not going to marry his daughter, yet she is still hanging around. It's a clear example of codependency. That's someone who's got an anxious attachment style, someone who doesn't value themselves, someone who doesn't love themselves and is seeking validation from a man who will not give it to her. Now, if that man turns around and says, okay, actually, I will marry you, you're going to end up in a miserable marriage, and he's probably going to end up cheating, and you will stay with him because you don't think that there is more for you out there. You haven't taken the time to really nurture yourself, create some value for yourself, some boundaries for yourself. You'd rather stay with, firstly, a man that's not even the same race as you. Who's a man who's brave enough and bold enough to look your father in the eye and tell him that he loves you, but isn't gonna be with you forever. Doesn't plan on sharing his life with you forever. Isn't gonna marry you when you know that's what you want. Please get out of the gutter. So many women do this, and they think that maybe having a child with the person is going to keep him around. It's not. It's absolutely not. If a person has decided that you are not the person that they want to spend their life with, if the person's values are simply, I don't want to get married, period, and you want to get married, that is not somebody that you want to be with. You can enjoy your time with them. But if you want to get married, they don't want to get married, that's not the person for you. It's simple as, let us as a society stop trying to put standards, our beliefs, and waiting around for people to come around, because we're constantly going to be disappointed. I want to add that Nene Leakes, who is a reality star, she is most known for being on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's recently started a YouTube channel, and she's been talking about her life. And if you follow her, you know that she lost her husband, Greg, probably like a year ago. They were married for years, like they had a child together. He appeared on the show, and he was her ride or die. And in one of her most recent YouTube videos, I think it's episode 2, episode 3 of her new like podcast style concept, she's talked about like a month after Greg died, she was in a new relationship. And she's spoken about how in her life she's always been a relationship girl. She's always been in a long-term relationship. She finds it very difficult to be single. And that's a clear indicator that something happened in your life. Something happened in childhood that made you fear being alone. Because why like I love being by myself. I love having my alone time, and I'm deeply dissatisfied when I don't have alone time, or if people force themselves into my space. I really, really hate that. But the fact that she is now a woman in her 50s, her husband's passed away like prematurely of, was it bowel cancer, I think, or prostate cancer. And instead of spending time to grieve and being alone with herself, she's dating another man. And for me, that's deeply sad. That's so sad that at your grown age, you just can't sit in the shit with yourself. You can't just sit and be with yourself and grieve in peace and lean on your friends and your family. You have to go and find solace in another man. That's scary. I don't want that for myself, and I don't want that for any of you, right? You have to want better for yourself. You have to learn how to like yourself and be okay with being uncomfortable. That is how diamonds are made, through pressure. Anytime something goes wrong, you cannot be running into the arms of someone else. And I'm not saying don't lean on your community. Absolutely lean on your community. But running into the arms of a romantic partner to escape your problems, that's asking for trouble. You're clearly saying that you do not like being by yourself. You do not like yourself. You do not trust yourself. You do not feel safe by yourself. And if you feel like that, you need to get support. You need to get the right support for that. I used to be, this kind of stuff made me think about my own self, because I used to be someone who was like, okay, if we like each other, then we need to be together. If we're sleeping with each other and we're having a great time, then I should be your girlfriend and you should be my boyfriend. I don't know where that mindset came from, but I kind of see that I'm a very all or nothing kind of person. Like if we're dealing together, then we're dealing together, or we're not at all. And over time, as the years have gone by, I've learned that, like, people aren't yours to keep. Everyone is an experience, and whether they choose that I choose you as a life partner and want to spend their life with you through marriage, that's a different story. But on a day-to-day basis, as you're dating or navigating through the world, let people come and go. Enjoy them, especially if you're young. I feel like if you're under the age of 30, 25, 26, at a push, there's nothing in marriage for you. You shouldn't be thinking about marriage. You should be facing your books, trying to get a job, trying to enjoy your life, travel the world, experience different things, make friends, make memories. Marriage, long-term partnership should not be in the equation, because you don't even really know yourself at that age. I used to have the mindset that, if we like each other, if we're dealing with each other, then we need to be together. You need to be with me and me only. And I recognized that I was forcing these connections because I had an ideal in my head. I had this standard that, like, okay, I want to be exclusive with this person. But like looking back, eventually, if that person did become exclusive with me, I didn't even really want to be exclusive with them. I just liked the idea of having a boyfriend, or like trying to have stability in that one person, because it's something that's constant. Like, you're going to speak to them, you're going to see them, they make your endorphins rush, know that they make you feel butterflies and make you feel a certain kind of way, and you enjoy that. You become addicted to that. But that is not healthy. That's not healthy. It's an attachment style. Let's talk about attachment styles. I want to add, I am not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't even have a degree in anything. But this is what I've learned from my therapist. And hopefully, if you don't have a therapist, this is something that you can learn, and maybe you can learn a little bit, do your own research about it in your own time. But there are 4 types of attachment styles. There's secure attachment style. There's anxious or preoccupied or ambivalent attachment style. There's avoidant, dismissive, and there's also disorganized. Everyone should be aiming to be secure. That is the goal for everyone, that you see yourself as a whole entity, and your partner sees themselves as a whole entity, and you come together and you enjoy life together. But you do not need to enmesh yourself with each other and blend lives and be like all up in each other all the time. Everyone should be aiming to be a secure attachment style, and that is what I'm on that journey currently, because I used to be an avoidant attachment style. I still am quite an avoidant person in general, but I've learnt to work through that, like just by facing conflict head on, doing things in the moment, saying what's on my mind, not running away when things get weird or before things get weird. I used to run away if I felt like, oh, this is gonna be something. I'm already out the door. Like, I don't think I've ever been broken up with. I've always broken up with someone because I'm like, I gotta go. I'm already out the door. This isn't for me. Things get a little bit too heated. I'm already down the street. And that comes from childhood trauma. Your attachment styles stem back to how you were treated or not treated as a child, and it's not just in romantic relationships, it's in friendships too. Because I know, as an avoidant person, I don't like people who are like anxious. An anxious type is usually someone who's like clingy, someone who wants to like please you and do all those things for you. I can't stand that in friendships and in romantic partners. I need you to leave me the fuck alone. I need my space, and I want us to come together as whole units in time. You know, at the end of the day, I don't need someone that's spinning up my line 24/7, that's talking to me. Like, even friendships too. Like, I have one friend who's like, you don't respond to my texts in time. You take too long to reply to my text, and I'm like, I have things to do. Why do you want me to respond to you in 1 minute? That's weird. No, I know it's instant messaging. I need my space. Leave me alone. I'll respond when I can. Okay, when I want to. I've seen the message, but you're damn sure I'm not responding to it. And I hate it. I hate texts that go back and forth. You know, like when you respond to a message, like sometimes, like I usually respond in a couple of hours or like the following day if I feel like it's too late, and the person responds immediately. That is the worst thing. If I've not responded to your text in 12 hours and you respond in 12 seconds, I physically want to throw up. And again, that's my avoidant attachment style, because I'm like, why? I feel like I'm suffocating. Why are you responding to me so fast? I hate texting that goes back and forth, back and forth. Why are we texting in real time? I feel like the reason that I have a phone is so I can ignore people. I can see your message. I'll like, if you want me to respond, call me. But like, if your text is there, I'm probably not going to respond for a while, unless we're having an important conversation. But enough about me. So you need to recognize in yourself whether you have one of the four. What one of the four attachment styles belong to you, and work on them. Google is your friend. Again, I'm not a therapist, so I can't help you out. But Google them and see where you fall into. Are you someone who's like, you want to talk to your person all the time? Oh my God. You're obsessed with them. You want to do this. You'll take them back. If they hurt you, you just kind of settle for everything. Yeah, you're probably like an anxious attachment style. There's this disorganized attachment style I don't really know too much about, but if you're someone who's like ready to run away, you're probably an avoidant. And if you're someone who's just cool, yeah, whatever, then you're secure. Well done to you and your parents for doing the Lord's work. Praise to you. We need more people like you in the world. But yeah, let's move on to therapy. Therapy is I think if you're an adult, I don't understand why therapy is not started at like 16. Therapy should be in school. Like, I think every school should have a school therapist, or every child should have a therapist from like young, because childhood is traumatic, especially being a teen and being in secondary school and in that awkward phase of puberty where people are mean and your body looks weird and you feel worthless and you're not secure in who you are, you don't know what's going on, this is when we should start therapy. Because then you get a lot of people who enter adulthood and never ever ever have therapy, and they're just messed up in the head because of something that happened in childhood, and they never spoke about it, and nor do they care to speak about it, or they can't speak about it because they buried it at the back of their memory. That's scary. I've been following the story of what's his name, John Ramona. It's probably not his name, but he was a school shooter in like the 80s or 90s. When he was 16, he walked into a school, and luckily he didn't unalive anyone, but he had the intention to harm 2 of his teachers because he felt like they embarrassed him, and they didn't listen to him and things like that. And now he's become this TikTok star. He's got a platform talking about his life and reformation and things like that. I've really been following his story, and if someone like him had a therapist at age 15 onwards, that school shooting could have been prevented. That's the tools, but of course society has progressed and we now value mental health a lot more now. But imagine if he had someone to talk to, someone completely independent of his family, maybe the school, to just talk about how he felt. I think we could have completely avoided that situation. We could probably avoid a lot more crimes and a lot more heartache if people started going to therapy a lot earlier. But I will say therapy is expensive. I know people promote BetterHelp and things like that on YouTube, and you can get a discount. It is a little pricey. It's like £100 and something a month. They say get 20% off. You're still paying £100, which is a lot. None of my subscriptions are £100. Maybe the gas bill, the electricity bill is that much, but that's utilities. It's up to you. Therapy can be like, when I used to do therapy, it was like £50 a session. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, BetterHelp can be cheaper because you could probably do like 4 sessions for the price of 2 if you were to do it privately here in the UK. And there are sites where you can find that if you are a person of colour, you can find a black therapist. If that's your preference. You can also get it free on the NHS. I recently got a text from my doctor's surgery saying, if you're suffering with anxiety or depression, you can use our therapy service. And I think, okay, cool. But I don't know how good that would be. I feel like the staff will be incredibly overworked and won't be able to listen to me properly. But there are different ways in which you can get therapy. If you don't want to speak to a friend, if you don't want to speak to a family member, please go and find some support. And I think it will greatly help you while we're on this journey of decentering romantic relationships. Let me give you some top tips. Why do you want to be in a relationship? Why do you want that man or woman? Think about it. First and foremost, you need to know what you want. You need to know what you're looking for, but most importantly, you need to know why you are looking for it. You could say, oh, you want a man to love me, you want a woman to love me, but why? Usually the reason is because you don't love yourself, so you want to be loved by someone. But why? What benefit is that going to bring to your life? And most importantly, what benefit could you bring to their life? Because if you're entering a relationship, you want to be in partnership with someone. It's a two-way street. It's not just what they can give you, it's what you can give to. Right. Is it lust-based? Are you just super attracted to this person? Or are you just lonely and horny? Think about it. It's usually the latter, which makes people go crazy. But, spend some time alone. This is why before you go on dates, before you date people, it's good to rub one out so you can think clearly before you enter the situation, and you're not likely to enter any temptation because you're already level-headed. That's a great tip. I should add that on there. Learn to love yourself. When you are in your single stage of your life, that is the perfect opportunity for you to level up. Really think about, what do I want my life to look like? You can design your own life exactly how you want it to be. You just got to give yourself a chance. No one is going to do it for you but you. You have to know what you want your life to look like. Start spending time with yourself. Start reading books. Go to therapy. Do all the things that I just mentioned. Start spending time with yourself. You would be surprised how many people don't enjoy alone time. So many people run away from spending time with themselves. So many people need to be mentally stimulated by either other people, friendships, just being outside, being distracted, music, drugs, alcohol, partying, because they can't sit still. They can't sit in the pits of darkness and just be with themselves and be alone with their thoughts. They need some kind of stimulation. And a lot of people are like that now because we're always on our phone. We always need some stimulation. From the moment we wake up, you're on the phone. Scrolling. To the moment you go to sleep, scrolling. That fries your brain. Learn how to sit in the silence of yourself. I'm an only child, okay? I have nothing but myself. All I've known is myself. So I think that's why I can speak about these topics so blasé and so freely and so detached, because I only have myself. You know, aside from my family, I have myself, and I've had to learn how to be self-sufficient, how to self-soothe from a very, very young age. So yeah, get like me. Learn how to be a friend. Yeah, when you're in your single stage, get some friends. Nothing is worse than being friends with someone who puts their man before their friends, who is quick to run off with a man, quick to do this with a man, and will leave their friends behind. And I have been that person. I've definitely done that person. Abandoned a friend because I wanted some dingling. And it's happened to me too. And I've had friends who I didn't see for years because they were in a long-term relationship, and suddenly they break up and they want to rekindle the friendship because they have no one. You spend all your weekends, all your time with your boyfriend and forgot about your friends. And honestly, I don't want to be in a relationship with anyone that doesn't have any friends. You need to have a social life. Remember, again, I'm an avoidant attachment style. I don't need people in my space. Please go outside and do something with someone other than me and arrange time to spend time with me, okay? You need to learn what friendships looks like. And I think if you are a good friend, then ultimately, if you know how to be a good friend, then you ultimately know how to be a good partner. Because romantic relationships, this is something that people forget. People like to jump straight into romantic partnerships without being friends with the person first. I think it's so important to have that foundation where you just know each other on a non-transactional level, just surface level, get to know the person, see if you actually like that person before you progress to romantic. It's such a backward mentality. Looking at it now and looking at all my past relationships or past people that I've dated, it was just like instant attraction. We like each other. Talk. Let's make it official. I'm not even like that with women. I'm not like that with my female friendships. My friendships now have organically grown over time. And of course, when it comes attraction, that's a whole nother thing. You got to learn how to manage that. But back to being a good friend, you got to know what you want. You got to know, first and foremost, who you are, what kind of people you want in your life, kind of person that you want to be friends with, not on a shallow level, but like deep connections. These are your chosen family. So people that you want to be with you through thick and thin, people that you want to celebrate life with, people that you want to cry with when things aren't going so well. What does that look like? And how do you want to show up for people? Are you a gift giver? Are you someone that does something for someone? Look at your love language. How do you show love? How do you receive love? That's a good indicator. Really, really build on, spend time nourishing your friendships, because they are the ones that are going to be there for you when your relationship is going awry. Now, if you don't have friends, because it is hard to make friends, and I'm going to do an episode on making friends in your 20s, because that's something that's a little bit difficult. But if you don't have friends, then I would encourage you to maybe join a club, a social club or gym, or something where you can meet like-minded people. And that it just exposes you to a variety of people, and you can potentially make a friend there, or even friends at work. I do have friends that I work with colleagues with, but I don't know, working with people and making friends in the workplace can be a bit of a sticky situation. So it really, really depends on you. But I think there are even apps now where you can make friends, where you can go and meet friends. So I would just advise you to spend some time outside, try and get some friends, learn how other people work, learn how the same sex work, learn how the opposite sex work, learn how to be friends with the opposite sex or same sex, whoever you're attracted to. And that's a cheat code into forming very good relationships with them. Set boundaries and know your deal breakers. Let's go back to the Blue Theory episode. My girl, both of the women that I spoke about earlier are in situations with men who do not want to marry them, who do not believe in marriage or do not want to marry them, but they want to get married. That's a deal breaker. That should be a deal breaker for anyone. If I want to get married, you don't want to get married. I want to have kids, you don't want to have kids. We're misaligned. It doesn't need to work. Know that. Going back to the 48 Oyster Lady video, that guy left. That guy didn't sit around and pay the bill like a numpty. He got up because he knew his self-worth. He got up. He knew this woman's trying to scam me out of these oysters, and took himself home. That was not a situation that he wanted to be in. That's a clear boundary. Women especially, I think us people, but women especially need to learn how to set boundaries. So for me, let's think about work, okay? I know that I don't like to be on the roads unless I'm out or with friends or whatever. As a DJ, I don't want to do bookings later than 1 a.m. because I don't like to be out or taking the night tube or taking the bus late unless they're providing me transport. That is a boundary. That is a boundary for me. And I am prepared to say no to a gig if the set time is later than 12 a.m. And that's something that I stick by. And that's my rule. So boundary can be anything from I don't like to be touched like this, or I don't like to be spoken like this. And if you are a people pleaser, it takes time to enforce those boundaries. So again, therapy. Practice the art of detachment. Like I said earlier, I'm an only child. I've been detached from the day I got here. So it's very, very easy for me to... I've never really felt attached to anyone unless I'm in deep love with someone. But even still, I can be detached. I very much know who I am as a whole entity, and this is me, and you are you. And you can practice detachment with, I think anxiety is a form of attachment. So thinking about ruminating on a particular idea or something that's not happening. When you're manifesting, they say that you should think about it, pray about it, note it, manifest it, and then you let it go. That's how it comes to you. Detachment is the art of letting go and understanding that people don't belong to you. Everybody's an experience, whether you want to believe that or not. We're not going to be here forever. We're all just individual people on this floating rock. So you either got to enjoy experience with someone or let them go, especially if they don't align with you. That's something to think about. If you are dating, you don't need to mold yourself and morph yourself into someone's world and become like them and do everything with them. No. People still have lives to live outside of you, and you have a life to live outside of them. So you should really, really nurture that, learn how to practice that. It's in with your friends too. You don't want to be the friend that's on someone's phone 24/7. Believe me, I had a friend like that. He wanted to talk to me all the time, called me every single day. I'm no longer friends with that person because it drove me insane. I couldn't do it. And I knew they meant well, but they couldn't be by themselves. They had to be communicating with someone. They had to be doing something. That's just how they operated. And that person needed therapy. So practice letting go, leaving people alone, especially if it does not serve you. If they do not serve you, let them go. Okay, as you know, we are on the road to 10,000 Instagram followers and 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. If you are listening on streaming platforms, on Spotify, Apple Music, please give us is it 5 stars or a thumbs up, follow, subscribe, do all of the things to support your girl. Okay, let's get into this week's Ask Anna. Ask Anna. You better ask Anna. So Ask Anna is the part of the show where I answer your dilemmas, and every week, every Monday, I post a little box on my Instagram story. So make sure you're following me on the Insta at Anna Marie Descartes. And once you do the little box, pop your question in, let me know. If you got a burner account, you want to remain anonymous and you got a burner account, sure, do it that way. You can also email me at annasbangers@gmail.com. I'm due to make a actual email for this podcast, so bear with, next episode we'll have that. So question number 1. Hi Anna, how do I get boys to like me? Did you not just listen to this episode? What do we talk about? I feel like this is from a younger person, and fair enough, because I remember being a teenager, and when you're awkward and ugly and you want to feel attractive by the opposite sex or the same sex, whoever you're attracted to, it makes you feel unworthy, especially being a teenager. God, such a struggle time. Firstly, I will say, to stay on brand and on point with the topic of this video, you don't need boys to like you. You don't need girls to like you. You need you to like you. You need to like yourself first. Start spending time with yourself, reading books, educating yourself a little bit more, exploring, coming out of your comfort zone, taking up sports or different hobbies, traveling, and just enjoying life with your friends, being you. You will find that so much more fulfilling than having someone like you. But I know when you're young, your worth is attached to how people see you or what people tell you. So if you really do want a boy to like you, then you know what? I think the main thing is to just work on yourself. When you have that inner glow, it's very, very attractive to people. Young boys are not looking for an inner glow. They're looking for the outer gratification. So that's not something that should pertain to you until you're a little bit older. But I think as you get older, if you really do want to attract more guys, then you can work on your physical appearance, start doing exercise, eating better, get your skincare routine up. If you're young, I know the acne is crazy, so if you can afford some good skincare, I would I would highly recommend you invest in that. And little beauty tricks, I think without doing crazy makeup, really good ways to improve your facial appearance is just by your eyebrows. So getting your eyebrows done, your eyebrows shaped, or tinted or laminated, to match your face. Eyelashes are good too. I just started getting individuals and I think they're the best thing ever. But mascara, let's take it one step at a time. And lip gloss. A nice shiny lip is always good. Very cute. That's what I would say. Question number 2. How do you conquer lack of motivation? The second question is actually very similar because I got 2 questions. How do you conquer lack of motivation? And I also got, how do you keep going? The motivation has left me and I don't see it coming back. Quite similar questions. I think people think that I'm this motivational monster. And I kind of am. I've learned how to keep going, mostly because I don't have a plan B. Okay, this is presenting, being an international television, radio presenter, DJ has always been the goal for me. There is no other option. That's the only thing that I am qualified to do and love to do in my life. There's no plan B. Okay, that's the only reason why I keep going, because I don't see anything else for myself. I'm simply delusional. That's it. Final point blank period. But what I've learned over the years is motivation is not linear. Motivation isn't real. You need to be disciplined, and you'll probably hear this quite a few times in podcasts. You need to just create a routine for yourself where you're constantly doing the work, because motivation fluctuates. I feel very motivated on a Monday morning. I'm like, yeah, let's seize the day. By Wednesday, I'm like, no. But I know that about myself, and because I've put things in place, I've set routines, I've got people that hold me accountable, I know that I have to keep doing the work. There's literally no 2 ways about it. Things that are good also, like to remind yourself of your goals. I'm big on journaling. I've always been big on journaling, and I have so many notebooks that I started writing in 5+ years ago, and sometimes I go back to them and I go and read what I was trying to manifest, and what I was trying to manifest then, I'm still manifesting now. I'm still manifesting now, or things have come to fruition in other ways. So sometimes I look back at old visions, like my old notebooks or pictures of things that I've achieved, and then I'm like, oh, I was really out here doing this. I can keep doing this because I know what I'm doing, right? So you gotta give yourself props and look back on your achievements, big or small. Look back on the steps that you've made, revisit your goals, and see how you can redefine them to who you are now. Because I guess when I first started out, I just wanted to be a television presenter, and now I'm more aligned with, I know what lane I want to go down now, and I can refine it, and then I can look for jobs and opportunities that align with that a little bit more. So yeah. That's what I would say to you. And those are all the questions we have for Ask Anna this week. I would love to do so much more. Dilemmas. So keep them coming. Hit me up on the Insta. Hit me up on the email. And I'll be sure to get to you. Right. We are going to wrap up this week's pod. Make sure to subscribe to me on Patreon, where I will be dipping and diving into part 2. Why I'm choosing to be abstinent and why I'm being fussy about who I'm dating. We're going to get into my dating life, my personal life, and the nonsense that I've had to deal with. So head on over to Patreon, subscribe to iHeart AMD, a little subscription per month, and I will see you back here next week. Ta-ra!